Okay, well, hey everyone, and welcome back to another Warcraft video. It's a pretty damn exciting day because the beta for Shadowlands is out, and with that, we actually, well, we have endgame in many ways, right? There's actually a new character creation template where we can start off with the Covenant choice experience, and then we can see every Covenant. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at every Covenant. Now, these are going to be like your class order halls of Legion, so this will be a major place that you'll be hanging out, and really, the aesthetics and the sort of stuff related to your Covenant, that's going to be pretty important. And one of the largest choices you'll make in this expansion, and rather controversially, it is a choice that Blizzard does intend you to trial run while you level and then really stick with at the end game. So that'll be a pretty interesting one. Now, just before we get into it, of course, if you want to support what we're doing, there's two ways to do that. Number one, Patreon. We've got a whole bunch of things over there. Big loot month this month. Of course, we've got the Warlock pin this month, as well as the Tiernanog, which is some fun Irish stuff and other things. So you can check that out. And the other way to help us out is, of course, by getting Shadows Rising with a free 30-day trial of our sponsor, Audible. You can get it now and listen to it. It's a pretty sweet situation. And yeah, it's a 30-day free trial, but guess what? You get to keep the thing forever. So it's pretty sweet. So with that said, let's go. Let's hop in game and take a look at the new Covenant intro experience. And I guess speaking of that Patreon class bin, we're on a Warlock and we're going to be choosing the Venthyr this time around. So here is basically the Enclave in Oribos, where we are talking to a bunch of very interesting people, essentially the servants of the Arbiter. They'll be pretty interesting, actually, in where they came from, but that lore is not really the point of today. So we'll talk to this guy. You know, we're sort of deciding how our path is entwined with the purpose, which is like the overriding, purpose of everyone in the Shadowlands so far, and a little bit mysterious. Now, this is actually really useful because this lets me quite quickly, sort of talk to all these people, lets me quite quickly show you what the various different Covenants are actually like in terms of the rewards. So they basically give you this, which shows you the class ability that you get, and then the signature ability, as well as a look at this armor types version of the Covenant armor, which of course for cloth looks very much not like a Warlock, but also very cool. And then of course the mount. So that's what we're getting for the Kyrians of Bastion. Then if we hop over here, of course, to the Night Fae of Ardenweald, you'll get to see again, not massively Warlock themed, which is a bit bizarre, but certainly a gorgeous set. You again get to see their abilities and their mount. So that's all pretty cool. Now, the thing here is you will have actually leveled up in each one of these zones, and you will have given their abilities like a trial run. Now, there are things you won't have seen, right? You won't have seen their unique thing, right? Like the, the party game that the Venthyr get, the boss rush that the Kyrians get, the Conservatory of the Queen, that's, sort of farming minigame that Ardenweald gets. So that bit is a little bit bizarre. There's, of course, the Venthyr, who we are going to be choosing on this character. And then finally, we will hop this over to Draka. Once that's done, we'll do our big run through, and trust me, they're actually pretty darn cool. So yeah, we talked to Draka, get the Necrolord stuff, which certainly is hit or miss depending on your various different classes. Quite a nice Egyptian sort of vibe going on there, which of course does match the the OG Scourge of of War 3. So yeah, there is their preview. Of course, you will select whatever you're going to select here, and then you'll be off to your Covenant. We will do the Venthyr later, and I'm going to hop over and show you Ardenweald. And here we are in Ardenweald. This character has joined the Night Fae Covenant, and this is the Heart of the Forest. It is absolutely gorgeous. Man, I love this zone so much. So basically, to do our tour of this Covenant, what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to show you around, basically. Now, I'm starting off here, which is at the scouting map. Now, the scouting map is, of course, one of the new systems. I'll be able to show it to you properly because for some reason the Ardenweald template doesn't give you, people to play with in this, so a little bit bizarre. But, you can see your different adventures. It's familiar enough, but how it's actually executed is a little bit different. But of course, this is one of the places you will be going to. So from here, we then have the rest of this Covenant area. Now, as you can see, it really is all based around this tree. So I'm actually not going to go into the tree first. I'm going to hook around because when we hook around, it actually takes you, to one of the main places that you'll be entering this area from. Now, there is just a little bit of space that's a little bit unpopulated here right now, and I mean, man, as you're just walking through here, it's so cool. And one of the effects that I really love is as you walk close to things like this, you kind of, okay, it's not playing for some reason this time, but as you walk close to some elements, they kind of start to buzz with this really eerie energy. Very cool, very thematic. The place is really, really well executed. So here we are at basically the refugee camp. That's what it's called. So we actually go in here. There is something that's pretty cool about this one. There's actually 2 flight points within the order hall, which does make a lot of sense because it's pretty spread out. So this is one of the places you'll be entering here. Of course, as we go along here, there's just a bunch more, NPCs, the innkeeper, stuff like that. So that's what's going on here. But of course, we should go and actually enter the heart of the forest itself. That is where the Night Queen, or the Winter Queen even, is. And in there, you also get a bunch of your other interesting amenities, such as your soul binds and your upgrades to your Sanctum, because yes, the Sanctum is tied into a big upgrade system. So it's a bit weird the way this only loads in when you actually enter it, enter this building, but it's very cool, very beautiful looking. And I mean, certainly if you like that foresty aesthetic, this place is going to be great for you. Also, another innkeeper, you really kind of go in here wherever you want, which is pretty handy. Now, there is quite a bit of empty space, and one of the bits of feedback that really everyone in our team has had as we've been testing this is that some forms of enhanced movement would be really nice when we're in these order halls. And there are times before where Blizzard have given you movement speed increases for when you're actually, in places like this. I think that it would be a really good move for them to do it in this zone. As an example, the travel form, your main Covenant ability as these guys is you turn into a little, sort of forest creature and you move fast. So that would be quite nice. Now that said, where we just came from outside, well, there's actually a flight point up here as well. So that's really quite nice for how you're getting around the place. And yeah, some pretty cool, different guards. Anyway, let's show you some of the amenities, right? Some of the things you'll be doing. You've already seen the mission table, so the funny thing about those mission tables is realistically, are you going to travel back here to do them, or are you just going to log out of your character wherever you are, boot it up on your phone, and then just do it? I mean, realistically, I think that's what most of us are actually going to be doing. Now, here's something pretty cool, the Test Resource Distributor. This obviously won't be here in live, but there's just a whole bunch of stuff that they, just will give you to test these systems out. So that's a really nice touch from Blizzard. Anyway, here is the Forge of Bonds. So the Forge of Bonds is where you're doing your soulbind stuff. Yeah, so you'll be here a decent amount. Now, basically the way it works is if you actually want to configure your soulbind, you've got to do it here in your Sanctum. But if you are just running around the place, right, you can swap between different soulbinds, not configure them, but swap between them pretty much at leisure. So that's quite nice, gives you a bit more flexibility. Anyway, here's another first one's looking artifact, which is a bit suspicious. But when we go down here, you can then see Zahad the Builder. Now, this guy is the NPC who's going to be giving us our our upgrades. So this is the upgrade tree for for this Covenant, and it's kind of interesting. The only unique one is the Queen's Conservatory. However, the actual implementation of some of the other ones is a little bit more unique. Mainly the Transport Network one. Right now, it's pretty basic. First tier of the Travel Network, second tier, third tier. There's some of the other Covenants give you a little bit more detail there. Now, these are the various different resources you'll be collecting from mainly from anima, just from doing stuff in general, and from the Maw. So this is one of the things that those can go into. You can see I've got 3 of each of these types of anima weavers, architects, and artisans. So I could use that to upgrade my travel network. I could upgrade my anima conductor. Now, the way the anima conductor works basically is it will activate sub-regions of the zone and you'll get more world content there. So that's kind of how that system works. Then, of course, we've got the adventure upgrades, which is basically just upgrades to your mission table. So a little bit dull. I mean, it's just gives you access to adventures and the rewards, increases the rate at which followers naturally heal, and then decreases the time that adventures take. So honestly, this one's pretty boring, I'll be real with you. Now, what is more interesting is the Queen's Conservatory. Now, this is the Pandaria-like farming minigame, and you can see that with this, you're getting access to essentially more mechanics, more parts of it, you're expanding it. So this is something that, at least for me as a player, I'll be very interested in, because for some reason, those things just tick a box for me and sort of get in there. So there you go. This is the Order Hall, I will say Order Halls. This is the Covenant Sanctum of the Night Fae. It's probably one of the more spread out, less convenient ones to run around, which I think for some people will be kind of frustrating. I think those people would probably like Maldraxxus, which is rather utilitarian. And here we are, right back where we started. Now, these are a bit weird because these look like training dummies, but if you actually move the camera through them, the camera sort of doesn't clip through them, which means that these are actually geometry. Still, I would imagine there'd be a full array of, target dummies and stuff going on here. overall, this one's beautiful. Not the most convenient to go around in the universe, but I'll tell you what, I really like it. Works for my aesthetics. There's just so many nice little touches. I absolutely adore this zone. You look up at you look up at any point, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And then I think, actually, no, it's not this one. It's another one. But basically, you're kind of, at this big tree and almost like roots coming out of it. You got these different sort of paths out. And I know at least one of them takes you to basically to a theater. And when you're actually doing your like induction to this order hall, you kind of like do a theater like reenactment of the last two expansions. And do you know what's really funny as well? In that, Blizzard kind of take the piss out of themselves. And that's kind of fun. But anyway, there you go. That is Ardenweald. With that said, let's move on to the Kyrians of Bastion. And next up, here we are, overlooking the gorgeous zone of Bastion from the also very gorgeous Elysian Hold. I mean, come on, look at this place. It's absolutely stunning. I thought the Halls of Valor were cool, but bloody hell, they really have outdone themselves for this one. So, this is quite a different feeling order hall, actually. It's a lot more structured, as you would expect from the Kyrians, once you actually get to know them through their questing. They're not the most freedom-loving bunch, you could say. So this is basically where your flight point will, I think over there is where your flight point will take you, but this is kind of like your main sort of base of the structure. Now, if you go and talk to this guy, again, you get your various different upgrades, and what's cool is all the flavor text is in for all of the ones here, so I can actually show you what that's going to be like. So, number one, Step of Faith, which lets you travel to Elysian Hold, Heroes Rest, Aspirants Rest, and the Temple of Courage, and after you actually reach your location, you get a movement speed buff, which is pretty cool. Then for Leap of Power, well, you get more places to go to. The duration of your move speed buff, Unburden, increases, and then your Summon Steward ability also gets buffed, giving you a beacon which lets you actually access the transport network wherever you are, so you can just spawn in your own flight point. That's really cool. And then finally, you've got Eternal Paths, which lets you travel to the Temple of Humility and Exaltation Rise. Then it makes Unburden additionally reduce the radius at which enemies will detect you when active, so you get off your flight point or whatever, you do your traveling, you can move super fast for longer, and enemies won't aggro you as much. So this means you can just sort of really just slip around the zone super quick. I think that's really cool. And then also your Steward's Elysium Beacon can be used by your party members, which is, again, super nice. So that's pretty cool. And then the other, unique thing for them, of course, is Path of Ascension. This is upgrades for the Path of Ascension, where basically you kind of, via your soulbinds, you do this like boss rush. So pretty cool. Just right now, it just sort of gives you more tiers to it, so more difficulty levels and stuff. So that's what's going on from that. Now there are also these two, like actually, you can deal with those later. Anyway, let's go up the place. So once we go up, there's down here. Now, yeah, we won't go up. So once you go down here, you get your Forge of Bonds, which is, again, where you're dealing with your soul binds. You got Pelagos, Clea, and little Forge Light guy, which is pretty cool. And those, of course, are all characters that you meet and get to know, I'd say, decently well while you are doing the main campaign. And that's actually a really nice thing in this expansion I've noticed, where I'm not done with those characters once I'm finished leveling. I'm sure, for most of us who've been playing Battle for Azeroth, you kind of went through all these zones super fast and so many different storylines, so many different characters, and that was kind of it, right? You didn't really spend enough time with those characters afterwards. So I think it's really cool the way that they're actually sticking with a core set of characters for everyone. I really like that. Anyway, so let's go up here, and we got a few different things. So number one, we've got our target dummies, and this is a really great suite of them. So you've got your Raiders one, your Dungeoneers one for the tanks, then you've got your regular training dummies, you've got a mass AoE one, then over here, where are they? Yeah, these two little guys. You've got your cleave target dummies, so we can assume that's just going to be what they'll do for every single one, and I just think that's really nice for trying out different types of builds and different types of situations, and it makes a lot of sense now that, Mythic Plus is more a part, just like a part of the game that they have, your extended cleave, your AoE, and all that stuff, so pretty nice. Another thing of suspect that I will continually call up to you, though, this is not a Titan relic, this is like a First Ones one in terms of art style. So it very much is interesting. We've got this very Titan sort of Halls of Valor feeling place here, but just like every single Sanctum, you've got these First Ones things in them. And also, yes, this, which I kind of blindly walked into, a nice little thing for traveling around here pretty quickly. Unless it doesn't work. There you go, beta's beta. But the point is, if you want to hop across those areas, they actually just gave you these little shunts, which again is a really, really nice little consideration. And yeah, when we hop over here, I believe this is where we get the scouting map for these guys. And what's cool is I can actually show you more of this one. So right, we've got these halberdiers. Of course, a halberd is a long weapon, so if I put the halberdier here, it's targeting this guy. If I put it back here, oh wait, actually no, the way they work is they target the furthest away one. So the thing is, what I could do is I could put a back row of halberdiers, and then the phalanx guys I could put up at the front. And they'll kind of like all, you know what I mean, right? You can set up your shields at the front, then your longer ranged guys of the halberds at the back. And then you could put Pelagos in here and he will have his various different abilities. So it's a bit like an auto chess in how you actually, and we can cut to some footage of this in operation. But yeah, it's kind of like an auto chess, and you set your guys up and you kind of, once the timer's done, you actually get to see how it plays out based on the AI. And that means there's just a little bit more intuition on the player's part in terms of how that should work, instead of it just being this blind dice roll. So I think that's actually a really nice little feature. Anyway, we'll continue the tour on. It's a bit unfortunate. There's really nothing going on in this section, sort of in these two wings, even though they're really nice and they actually have their little fast transport sort of shunty thing going on. So a little bit weird, but there you go. And really that's most of the utility stuff you'll be dealing with. It's all quite convenient, and you can see this place is not really as large as, or at least it's a bit easier to get around than the Night Fae one. And then as I go up here, this is where, you know, this kind of reminds me of, like, you know, where Odin is in the Halls of Valor, right? So where the Archon is hanging out. So, you know, you'll be going here for your big quests, but it's probably not somewhere you'll be all the time. So there you go. That is the Elysian Hold. It's pretty gorgeous, and it's also quite nice to get around, which I think a lot of people will like quite a bit. And yeah, I mean, there's not really that much else to say. It's just going to be your hangout place. And I think what will matter, and really what Blizzard's intent is that, you know, as you level up, say, the travel network and those various different things, you'll just feel really powerful when you're in this zone. And that's kind of the deal. And that this is somewhere that, you know, you can set your Hearthstone to, sort of your log in, log off point typically. Now, there is one part of that that's a little bit strange. There's not exactly super easy transport from here to Oribos. And that's maybe something that I think players will want, in the same way that people were used to being able to move between Dalaran and their class order hall pretty easily, of course, depending on your class back in Legion. But anyway, that's the Elysian Hold. Let's move on to Maldraxxus. And here we are overlooking Maldraxxus from the Primus's Rise, and you know what? Not as nice of a view, but a pretty damn cool view all the same. So let's head in, of course, using a Death's Advance, because, you know, this is such a speedy class to be playing, the Death Knight. But hey, I suppose that's the theme. Anyway, we get in here and bam, you get to see the big statue of the Primus overlooking you. And, you know, Maldraxxus is supposed to be the very, you know, utilitarian place. So it's not the most beautiful place ever. And one thing you actually notice is that everything is very close together. So a lot of people will maybe find this to be the anti-Dazara lore. So let's have a look. You've got their transport network, which, you know, we don't have super big details on in the tooltips, but you've got that. You get to upgrade it. Again, you've got your Adventurers table upgrade. You've got your Anima Conductor upgrade that, of course, activates, you know, the little, like, sub-zone sort of areas for World Quest and stuff. And then there's the Abomination Factory, which, again, lets you do, well, you know, all of those things. Make your ghouls, make your geists, make your abominations. They'll help you in the world. You can sort of customize them for various different bits of utility. So that's that system. Now, of course, the Anima there, the souls, you'll be getting those just from doing content. You'll be getting that from going to the Maw. And that is in a way where, you know, you can get all you need for progression in terms of the renown, you know, the renown sort of just kind of like your AP or your VP, as in it's just that sort of weekly thing you want to fill up. You can get that pretty quickly, pretty easily, and then just any further farming up of things kind of goes into those upgrades. So, okay, we go here. Here's our guy from the Undying Army. He was one of our soul binds. Once again, we're here at the Forge of Bonds. Once again, it's a first ones sort of situation. So choose between your soul binds, what you would expect. So we got that, and then, yeah, I mean, as I move over here, we got the scouting map. They're very close to each other, which I guess just sort of works for the theme of this zone, and that everything's just very utilitarian and brute force, whatever. Now, when we do go to the back of here, it's a little bit weird. By the way, these new undead are so cool looking, and it's quite cool actually seeing the Scourge aesthetic in a way that doesn't feel dated, because Northrend was a long time ago. You know, obviously War 3 was a long time ago. So just seeing it all with like the super crisp lines of modern Blizzard art is a real treat when you're going around this zone. But it's a bit weird here at the back, you know, behind the Primus statue. It's just totally empty. Now, that's something to expect, right? This is beta. If you looked at, say, the beta version of Borealis, it was super bare in terms of, like, detail and stuff. So, yeah, this is basically just the main layout. There's the Primus himself, or, well, a statue of him. We'll not cover that lore because it's a part of the mystery of the zone and the stuff that you'll be uncovering. But essentially, that's it for Maldraxxus. You're not really going to be getting the biggest, most grand Sanctum, but you certainly are going to be getting one that is very easy to use. It's very convenient. So in terms of space, I'd imagine maybe back there could be the flesh crafting. Maybe here can be your target dummies, which right now aren't really implemented. It's just kind of there for the visuals of those NPCs fighting. And then also there's all these little portals. Now, these portals, I'm fairly sure, are the travel network of this zone. So let's just go use this one as an example, and you'll unlock more of them as time goes on. And this one will take us to the overlook of the seat of the Primus, which, you know what, is going to get us a really nice view of the whole zone. And let's mount up, because running around as a DK is not the most speedy experience in the universe. So here we are. There's a big thing of the Primus again. And if I can even move correctly, I mean, it's quite the view, isn't it? What a spooky, spooky zone. I think this will be right up the alley of many players who just want that ultimate War 3, ultimate, like, Scourge experience. You're certainly going to be getting it in this zone. And with that said, let's go right back to where we started, and let's take a look at the Venthyr. So we're back where we started, and this is actually quite cool because I can show you the sort of traveling process, which really is quite a treat, quite interesting. So let's go. Let's select the Venthyr. Of course, we can take a look a little bit more closely at the rewards if we want to, but we're just going to go. We're going to hit that join button. We can talk to our sort of emissary or whatever of the Arbiter. And with that done, we got our quest with General Draven, of course, one of the questing characters. Once again, it's one of the nice things about this expansion, actually, where you just have that smaller cast of characters for every single Covenant, and you actually stick with them for a good amount of time. So we're here in Oribos. If you look at the map, right, it's in the center of the whole shebang. And there's the big Animus shunt, right? So all the when you die, you just sort of gets like slooped through here. And the idea is the Arbiter is supposed to direct you somewhere, but the Arbiter's dormant. It's not happening. That actually means that if you just hop in there, that's actually how you get to the Maw. But what I'm going to show you here, if I just mount up first, it's actually a bit pointless, but the transport portal. So Oribos has got like multiple different levels, and one of the ways you get between them is just by using these little guys. That's kind of cool. It does this effect, and then bam, you're there. You're at the next level, and this is how you actually travel to the constituent zones of the Shadowlands. Of course, with the Shadowlands not being contiguous, this is something that a lot of people wondered, and this is how you do it. There's also the Flight Master, and one really nice thing, actually, if I go to this Flight Master, is you can see every single template character. Like, this character is like 5 minutes old. Every template character has got every single one of their things. Now, I could just go, sort of like to wherever I want, so go straight to Sinfall, or I could actually just do it via these portals, which is what I'm actually going to do. And I mean, man, when you actually just look around Oribos, right, like that skybox and everything, it's very grand. It's very cool. So we're going to click here. We're going to be zooped through on something that you will recognize because, oh, look, even if you don't have a collector's edition, you do and you've got this. I'm sure they kind of want the idea of you seeing this and maybe getting that collector's edition upgrade. But anyway, I hope you like Stargate. I really like Stargate, a very fun show, and I would say all of its incarnations, and certainly something that seems to be a bit of an inspiration for this effect, which is one of the just nice, cool little touches of flavor they've actually put in with this expansion. So anyway, I'll cut back to when we actually arrive. And here we are. So the way that those portals currently work is they just shoot you out at the sort of like default entrance for every single zone. What is, though, a really good thing is if you actually look at the map here, well, that default entrance to the zone almost always has a Flight Master super close to it, so you can get to where you want to go. Of course, it would have made a lot more sense for me to have just used the regular Flight Master and just went straight to Sinfall, but I thought it was cool to use the big portal. And certainly, you get another view at another gorgeous zone. Seriously, this expansion is just concept art in 3D. Usually what happens is it's really hard to actually meet the target of your concept art. I don't know if I've seen a game actually be as successful at matching its concept art, especially considering the genre and sort of style of World of Warcraft, than Shadowlands. They seriously have done a great job. But anyway, with that, let's go to Sinfall and let's get inducted into our Covenant. And here we are in Sinful. Unfortunately, I have cheated on you. I actually went and I've just went and done it, haven't I? So I've actually done a bit of the intro stuff. And yeah, time to give you a tour. So this is where I actually land in. You get zooped in there into your flight point. Of course, again, a pretty cool flight point because there's one right beside it that takes you outside the area. So that's pretty sweet with Sinful. But as we go through here, what you're going to see is that it is bloody convenient. It almost looks like a sort of dark version of the Paladin Order Hall from Legion. Anyway, head over here. You've got some target dummies. I think what will eventually be target dummies. You've got your you've got your scouting map. I think Nadja's around here somewhere. She's one of your soulbind characters. Of course, then we've got our resource distributor. Of course, you won't get, but you know. Then, of course, there is the soulbind area. Now, what I do want to show you here, because I've kind of tried to show you like a unique thing or two within each one. So this is something that every single Covenant will have. And this is our Soul Warden character. So, right, we've got Return Lost Souls, which is basically go to the Maw, get us some souls, right? We'll give you some renown. Renown, it's like your AP bar. Sort of something that I think I'll experience in the same way I did VP, where it was like, that was the thing I wanted to cap every week in my character. This is what you'll want to do with Renown. Now, it's pretty cool because you got this one for Renown. And then you've got this, other one for Renown, which is to get a whole bunch of anima, which is just from various different sources, a bit like with AP. But basically, you do those two weeklies, but the thing is, you can actually still get souls and anima by just going to the Maw and getting them, right? Actually doing stuff. So to simulate that, I can actually go to this resource distributor and he can just give me a whole bunch of anima. So the point is, right, if you want your Renown progression for your main form of progression in terms of power and access to things, you go do the Renown stuff. But then if you just want to upgrade more of your transport network, your anima conductor, your adventure upgrades, the Ember Court for these guys, you can actually just go and farm up more of those resources if you want to. And I think that's pretty sweet. Now, as for this, basically the Ember Court, like this one gives you like a new court. This one gives you new cooks, backstage pass, some more guards, basically just stuff to sort of upgrade the Ember Court experience, give you a little bit more power, more options, so we can do better in it. And that's essentially it. Like there's our upgrade character, there's our soul binds, over there's the sort of the mission table. And now what I can do is head on over here. There's a little bit more going on to this place, so I'm going to go through that Sinful mirror in a second. But yeah, we can go up these stairs. These stairs will take us to kind of like an upper sanctum, and there's not too much going on there. It's definitely the sort of place though where, if I was Krendor, I'd be stopping, I'd be zooming into things, I'd be making something, like his pointless top 10 series, because there's actually just so many really nice little details. Now, this mirror is pretty cool because I believe, if memory serves me, if I take this one, it actually takes me outside. I think, yes, here we are. So we are outside in, I guess, the town of Sinful, instead of like the sort of spooky underground place. So yeah, here we are. Little bit desolate, so let's go back in. But yeah, so you can sort of go up top here via this, or you can use the flight point to go to the place below, below this sanctum. So anyway, let's go in, use that. Never mind, let's get logged out instead. Well, we've recovered from our DC, and it's now time to go back in. So we'll take that mirror, and bam, we're at the top of the Order Hall. What I can do, though, is head down, take the other mirror, which will show us, I guess, one of the more like sort of RP-ish feeling parts of this Order Hall. And yeah, I totally did it again. I said Order Hall. I mean Sanctum. They're kind of one and the same in some ways. Anyway, let's go through here. And yeah, here we are in another part of it. And in terms of like you being here all the time, I mean, you probably won't be as much, I'd say. There's like not as much going on here, but I mean, yeah, it's just quite nice, quite a nice space. There's a little bit of questing goes on here. That's pretty cool. The quill moves itself. I wish I had one of those in school. I could be even more of a slacker. But yeah, I mean, hey, it's pretty sweet. It's a little bit bare bones right now, so we'll have to see if Blizzard actually decide to add much to here. We've got another First Ones artifact. Bam, they're everywhere. What's going on there? Seems like some sort of big mystery that Blizzard will unveil at some point. Maybe we get to the end of our, of our campaigns with these different classes and covenants, and maybe they'll actually reveal what's really going on, how they actually came into being, where did the Winter Queen come from? How did Sire Denathrius get into his position? Was he just created by somebody for this role? Did he end up here for some reason and make something of it? Who the hell knows, essentially, but all sort of cool lore is being teased by the existence of these of these covenants and the whole setup of the Shadowlands. But there you go. That is your tour. You have now seen the Covenant Sanctums, and I want to know, which one are you actually interested in? What would you go for? Personally, I'm going to go with the Night Fae. I love foresty shit. It's really nice and cozy. That said, the Night Fae seems to be the least popular of all of them. It seems like the Venthyr are people's favorites from what I see, then Maldraxxus, then the Kyrians, and then the Night Fae. But certainly let me know which one you're going to be going for down below. It'll be interesting to see where everybody falls. Of course, thank you for watching this video. If you want to support the channel, there's two ways to do that. Number one, you could support us via supporting our sponsor Audible, where you can, with a free 30-day trial, get Shadows Rising, the prologue novel to this very expansion, for absolutely free forever. So pretty sweet, and Audible, of course, have a bunch of other Warcraft material. And then, of course, there's our Patreon, which is another direct way to support us. And this month, the loot is the Warlock pin. There's also our lovely big Tir na Nog sort of art piece. Tir na Nog, by the way, it's sort of the Irish otherworld. I mean, come on. You go into Ardenweald, you got Sproggins, you've got the Tiernan. The dungeon's even called Mists of Tir na Scythe, which is obviously sort of ripping on Tir na Nog. So yeah, I mean, quite a fun one if you want a little bit of the culture from which we come. So yeah, you can check that out. There's also the other art pack as well. That's all there. Anyway, that's how to support us. Thank you for watching this video, and with that, I shall see you next time.